Hello everyone and welcome to SUGTalks. I'm Craig Dale, your host, and together with our special guests we'll take a deep dive into the topics, challenges and opportunities facing SAP users today. Please make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. I'm delighted today to be joined by Emma Chambers, Head of Nibs Business Process and Activity Management at NATS and co-chair of our S4HANA Special Interest Group. And also Fiona Warburg, Centre of Excellence Manager at Welsh Water and also Director of the UK and Ireland SAP User Group. So welcome, ladies. Emma and Fiona are going to be telling us today all about the new Women in SAP initiative from the user group. So just to begin with, Emma, could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your role, please?
Hi, I'm Emma Chambers and I work for NATS. I work in the business side of NATS, having worked for some time in IT service management. So what I do now is I work very closely with the IS teams and with the business. We're looking at the moment at the ERP strategy and how we are going to make that transition to S4 for our ERP of the future. So there's a lot of work there. So we're looking at our business processes, looking at our technical options for the cutover. So that's, essentially me and my role in a nutshell for the next few years, as you can imagine.
Thank you very much. A lot to be getting on with and a big journey ahead.
Certainly is.
Yeah. And Fiona, could you introduce yourself, please?
Fiona Warburg, SAP Centre of Excellence Manager at Welsh Water, as you say, and my role has expanded actually even over the last month or so. So I used to just look after the solutions team, so dealt with best practice and where the solutions were going, making sure our partners were keeping them on the straight and narrow. But I've also picked up projects and operations, so the day-to-day. So pretty much I'm now responsible for everything SAP at Welsh Water.
Oh, thank you very much. So no wonder you're really busy then and hard to get hold of from time to time, both of you. So thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. And, thank you for taking part in the podcast today. And before we get into the main topic, I've just got a quick question for you. As you both know, we're currently putting the finishing touches to UKISUG Connect annual conference, which is coming up at the end of this month. And I wondered, looking back at previous conferences, what's been your funniest moment? And I'll start here, and mine is maybe funniest, but also the most cringeworthy. When the Bogus Brothers got me on stage to sing with them at SUGFest one year, and I used the word "sing" very lightly. I thought I nailed it, but then one of the team showed me the recording she made of it, and oh my God, it was awful. That was my funniest and probably cringeworthy moments. And Fiona, if you could share your moment, please.
Yeah. And it's hard to choose. There's so many, but they almost always revolve around SUGFest, so the evening do. And particularly for me, it's everybody getting up on the dance floor at the end. So with the band and Craig, yes, I was there on the dance floor listening to you and your awful singing, but entertaining. But yeah, that's probably almost every SUGFest ends with the dance on the floor.
Thank you very much, and thank you for confirming my thoughts that it was indeed awful. And Emma.
Yeah, you won't be surprised to hear that. I think I agree with Fiona. I think the laughs come thick and fast at SUGFest, and not just at the comedy club, which is always great. And I think I like seeing the photographs afterwards, because actually you can't always remember your funniest moment, or you kind of didn't realise that you did so much dancing or indeed singing until those photos come out afterwards. So they're quite nice to remind you, but they're also can be a little bit. That's when you start cringing. But yeah, lots and lots of fun at SUGFest.
Thank you both very much for that, and start on a very jovial note. And we're here today to find out more about the user group's Women in SAP initiative. So to start with, could you tell us some more about the initiative and why we're running it?
Well, I think we started the initiative earlier this year with an initial coffee session, because we noticed obviously that women aren't so well represented on our SIG sessions and perhaps in events we've been to in the past and conferences, and particularly seeing the requests for speakers coming through, there weren't very many speakers coming through that were women. So we wanted to sort of start getting women together, seeing what we could do to encourage more women to put themselves forward to speak, find out what some of the barriers were, in fact, to them putting themselves forward, or indeed attending some of the conferences. So that was where we sort of started the conversation and looked at how we could reach out to women, find out what those challenges, barriers were, how we could come together as a community and help each other, and also what the user group could do to perhaps help as well, including rolling things into the conference that perhaps would help to empower and embolden women to come forward a little bit more.
Oh, thank you. And you mentioned, obviously, the first coffee session and meeting that we had back in September. How did that go?
Really well, actually. It was very, very well attended, oversubscribed, in fact. So we couldn't get all the people on that we wanted to include, in fact. So we're very keen. I think everyone who joined that session was very keen to keep that forum going and to see regular sessions set up like that. For me personally, I thought it was really good, to log on, see all the faces on the screen, and actually see so many female faces on the screen, because of course it doesn't tend to happen when you have meetings that are, in this domain, IT and tech. You don't tend to get female-dominated meetings. So I think that was really great. And people have said it's so important to be able to see people like you doing the kind of roles that you aspire to. So for women that are already in the community, but also for young women or women who are thinking of changing careers, to show that it's it's a domain, it's an industry that there is a place for them within. So I thought that was just one of the really good things.
Yeah, feedback was excellent from the session as well. Sort of reading back through comments from the people that attended, it was very highly rated as a session.
Oh, that's excellent. So what was discussed at the first meeting?
I mean, all sorts of things. To be honest, we had so many topics that we could have covered. I think this is why we're keen to move on to, to make this a regular thing. But one of the really key things was around why more women aren't speaking at the events and at the conference itself. And I think there was a general feeling that perhaps it is just because women aren't that great in number in the community to start with. So percentage wise, you're not going to see so many coming through. But also there were quite a few women who felt that there are actually sort of more psychological and physical barriers to them that they experience when they think about speaking, particularly in a male-dominated industry. So there are a lot of women talking about that feeling that it's not just about having something interesting and worthwhile to say, but that perhaps their stature and their voice is small to sort of project themselves in an environment that is particularly male dominated. So there was a lot of conversation about what we could do to help women to learn the skills, to feel confident to speak up, and also what work we could do to make sure that everyone feels that actually there is no one typical type of voice that should be heard at these kind of events.
Thank you. And what's next for the initiative? What do we have in the planning stage at the moment?
Well, hopefully, and it is still in the planning stage, but we're looking at potentially women-only speaker training. So going back to what Emma was saying, actually, the number of people saying about the confidence to be able to get up and speak in front of groups. So we're looking at the women-only speaker training, but also at the conference, we're looking to run 2 sessions. Again, still under discussion, but we're hoping to get a senior executive from the UK and SAP to do a session to talk about women in SAP on the Monday, and then potentially another session on the Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
But
it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there.
And I think that'd be really good that we're getting I think that'd be really good as well that we're getting speakers from outside the customer base and also in the partner organizations in SAP itself, because as I said earlier, people say it's so important to be able to see other women doing the role that you might aspire to. So by reaching out across that whole ecosystem that we are very lucky to be a part of, there are lots of different organizations that we can call on and call on women who have the experience of talking about how they got to where they are, some of the challenges and some of the barriers that they faced and continue to face, and share those experiences. So I think that would be really important.
Oh wow, thank you. So there's quite a bit coming up very soon at UKISUG Connect then, and make sure that everybody keeps their eyes open for those sessions coming out, and we communicate them for you to get people there. Fantastic. And any longer term plans?
We'll definitely continue. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, one of the things, and looking again through the feedback from the session, the coffee session, it's things around building that confidence within the community, career progression. So talking about career progression sessions for that, definitely more coffee sessions, trying to fit in all those people that couldn't make it, having more sessions going forwards. But I mean, I think one of the things for me is also what does women in SAP mean, and what do we need next? So that's really what we're looking to shape with some of the future sessions as well. What is it people want?
I think what the coffee session and the earlier in the year showed is there are a lot of women in this community already who are very keen to be advocates for this programme. And we talked a lot about how perhaps we could do smaller groups, because on that big session was very well attended, but not everybody can perhaps talk and join the conversation when you've got those numbers. So we talked about perhaps having smaller groups where you could have a bit of mentoring, you could talk with other women about the kind of challenges that you've got going on, or that that you've experienced, and you can pass on that experience to other people, and just have a forum where you can all come together and sort of talk about those challenges and see what somebody else would do. And I think we could also talk about how we can reach outside the community, because we're already talking to a lot of women that are members of the user group or in the partner ecosystem, and just also how we can look at reaching outside and see how you could show people that they could join the industry and see themselves in a role in a tech industry.
Oh, wow. And what about, if I may ask, some other work that we're doing in the user group is working with universities and bringing in the next generation of user group members, talking to students, etc., and bringing them into the user group community. Do you see this also dovetailing in with the women in SAP community?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting. I was talking to actually somebody I work with in the recruitment team, who we've just done a graduate intake. And if you think of a IT in a water utility, trying to get, sadly we haven't taken on any female graduates this year, but trying to encourage people to come into that as an industry has been extremely difficult. So absolutely support it.
Okay, excellent. And so one of the things you're talking about there about the future was speaker training, in effect, helping our female members, if you like, feel more confident in speaking publicly at our events, etc. So perhaps that's something we'll be looking at early in 2022. Is that on the cards?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I mean, especially given the feedback, and it was, I would say, eye-opening for me, some of the feedback that's come from the sessions about that confidence, and that actually, there is an absolute need to get people built up and, with the skills to be able to stand up and talk about their experiences. I mean, this is not just about the SAP product, but even about what they've experienced at work within the forums that we're trying to set up. So absolutely will, obviously with your support, Craig, to facilitate. But
very much so. I think it's an absolutely fantastic initiative, and especially as we will also have board elections coming up probably at the beginning of next year, and we'd love to see more and more engagement from our female membership in those kind of things. From a user group leadership perspective, I think it would be absolutely excellent.
And we hope that women will have the confidence to come to events like Connect as well, perhaps events in person, because it may be that in the last couple of years it's been slightly easier logistically, but also, if there's a sort of nervousness about going somewhere on your own and meeting people, in real life and traveling on your own, that it's been easier for people to join these virtual sessions that we've had, but we'd love to see more women feel that they are confident enough to come along to the Connect conference, even if there's nobody else coming from their organisation or nobody that they know. And they can be assured of a very warm welcome from all of us. We would love to see them there.
That's very interesting. I think definitely, we are a very welcoming community, and when we're looking at the conference, what you were mentioning there about UKISUG Connect and people coming to the event, I often feel that people who are attending the event, whether male or female, to be perfectly honest with you, who are attending the event on their own, often feel a little bit reticent about coming to SUGFest, which is obviously our evening social and networking event. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, it's interesting. Fiona and I have been discussing this, and also with some of the chairs. And you're right; it's not just an issue affecting women, but women may feel this as well. So we wondered if it would be worth maybe setting aside like a gathering point at the beginning of SUGFest, right at the start of the event. If people are on their own and they want to come and meet somebody there, there will be a group of us and perhaps other people that have come to the conference on their own, and you can kind of buddy up and meet some of the SUG chairs perhaps, and come to the SUGFest with us, so that nobody feels like they have to sort of walk into the event on their own and not know where to find somebody. So how do you feel about that, Fiona?
Yeah, I think, like you say, we've had some offline conversations about it, and I think it's a really good idea, like a safe environment for people on their own to walk into. To be honest, you could walk into SUGFest anyway at any point, just in case that came across as it's not a safe environment. It absolutely is. But, that walking into a bar where nobody, that sort of feeling, if we actually, look at being even more welcoming than we normally are at the start.
Okay, well, let me take that away to the organising committee and look at how we can facilitate that, and I'm certain we can. There's also, the other things I would add there is obviously the user group has a stand at the conference. Pop along, speak to any of the team, and we'll help and let you know where to come and when, to make sure that you don't feel alone or nervous at all. If you're staying in the conference hotel at the Crown Plaza, we often meet there and also utilise these sessions through the day. But let me look at how we can facilitate that, and we'll send a note to everybody who's attending the event and give them the opportunity to meet together and ensure they have an absolutely fantastic evening. There's nothing better, I feel, than when you're learning all day at the sessions, to be able to relax, to network and have a nice relaxing evening before you start the sessions again. So thank you both for that idea. We'll take that away and see what we can put together for you. So just to sum up, can you tell us who can get involved in this community?
Well, for me, the main core for us is members of the SAP user group, but women is really what we're focusing on. So, what we're looking for, like Emma was saying, there will be sessions with bringing people in from outside of the user group, but the core will be our user group membership. But you don't have to have, it'll be business side, IT side, whatever level, junior, senior. I guess the more of a mix, the better. And for me, it was one of those, do I really? But, not cheesy, thinking sort of, Spice Girls. It's not that, this is just a like-minded community where we're looking to inspire those that need to be inspired and empower those that need to be empowered.
I think we've got a really good community that we can take advantage of. As Fiona said, that mix is really important, and it's such a diverse user group. We've got sort of people represented from all sorts of industries, and as Fiona alluded to earlier, some of those industries that it is particularly difficult to attract women to for careers. So this is a great opportunity to sort of spotlight those role models who are already working in those industries. So I think, not just from the user base, but across the huge supplier network that we've got that we can work with, and SAP itself as well, which obviously has a huge employee base and is a very high profile organization. And I think, we're just in the beginnings of this initiative now, but as we get a little bit more mature as well, although our focus is on women and their representation, it will be with some of those allies that we need as well, not necessarily the women, but the men that we need to be allies for this movement as well, because it's all very well us sort of, looking at how we can support women, but we need to address the culture that needs to be set against as well. So I think, everyone agrees that it's something we want to look at holistically, and involve everybody in that, everybody that's part of the community.
Yeah, that's great. So that's, across the whole of the SAP community, from what you mentioned in there, customer members, partner members, SAP themselves are all welcome to come. That's fantastic. That, you're opening your arms to everybody. That's brilliant. And just, as we come towards the close now, you've mentioned lots of different areas we're looking to take this community into, and also some of the values it can bring. But from the both of you, if you could just, I suppose, just finish off with, why should somebody get involved in this?
One thing for me, and I suppose I hadn't really thought about it until start. I say we're not very far in our journey, but one of the things that's really come to me is actually I've got experience that can help others. I'm obviously I'll take some things back and learn from it as well. But I didn't realise that actually some of the stuff I've done over the years is of interest to other people and can be of help. So that to me is, don't underestimate what you've already achieved and what you can actually share and help others with.
I totally agree with that, Fiona. And I think from a personal point of view, there's a lot that somebody can get out of joining this initiative. You can get help and you can get support and you can get, mentorship from other people. But also, as you say, there's a lot of experience that people can share, and it's very fulfilling actually doing that. And they may not have thought that they had a forum in which they could do that. And so personally, I think it's very fulfilling. And I just think from a wider point of view, it's what makes the user group so great is hearing from other customers. So bringing other voices in, bringing in, a wider perspective can only help enrich the whole community from my point of view. So I think it's not just that people get personal benefit, but the user group as a whole will be richer for it. And I think it's a fantastic initiative, Craig. So I do want to say thanks to the user group for taking this on, because I think it's amazing and really, really pleased to be part of it.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you both very much for that. And, I do believe from what you've been talking about today and the plans you have, that this could be a cornerstone community that we have within the user group to bring everybody in and involve them in what we do within the user group and really drive the women in SAP agenda. So, thank you both very much for, the work that you're doing in this. And in closing, any other elements that perhaps we haven't discussed or you'd like to bring into this conversation, and how people can get involved?
I think for me, and you've already touched on it, Craig, is just to reiterate, the board elections are coming up, and it would be great to see a number of women putting their hat in the ring. So from me, it is an amazing experience. I've been on the board so many years now, I can't remember, but I've enjoyed it, and I've grown personally from it as well. And again, excellent. Have faith in yourselves.
Thank you, Fiona. And anything from you, Emma, to close?
Yeah, I think it'd be great to hear from other members what they would like, what they think would help them. So I would say, can they contact the user group, Craig? Is there somebody there that they can contact if they have an idea of what they'd like to see on the agenda, the kind of training
by
that they
all
might
means,
like, for example? Yeah.
Yep, and support at sapusers.org, and the support team will pick up on that and run with that.
That'd be great.
We'll be talking about this.
That's brilliant. And if anybody is at the conference and they want to have a chat, I would say, and I'm sure Fiona would say the same, please do come up and have a chat. Let's talk about it.
We'll definitely be highlighting this at the conference. And again, yes, yourselves, thank you very much for that and putting yourselves out there. And there's also the user group team on the stand. Will be happy to discuss with everybody. So, we're looking at how we can really add more value for everybody, especially women in SAP, and how we can really drive this to help you personally in your career, and if you like, even back to what you were mentioning earlier about public speaking. We will certainly look at putting that together and maybe bringing something out in the first quarter of next year to really help support that.
That's great.
Well, thank you very much. I think, this is a great initiative, so thank you both very, very much for the time and effort you're putting into this. I really do appreciate it, and I think it's a great value add for the user group. It's been great to hear more about what you're doing and why, and for those of you that do want to find out more, please feel free to reach out to the user group through our usual channels, and I look forward to seeing you all at the conference later this month. So thank you very much, Fiona, Emma, and thank you for listening. We hope you found the conversation interesting, and until the next time, stay safe, stay well, and keep washing your hands.